Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a third-year media production student at the University of Lincoln, and today I'm going to be learning a little bit about the university's research into the tapestries here at Doddington Hall. Leah, thanks so much for meeting me.
Hi, welcome to Doddington.
Yeah, it's such an amazing space.
Yeah, definitely. Would you like to come up and see the tapestries?
I'd love to.
Come this way. So this is the Holly bedroom.
It's gorgeous.
And these are the tapestries which sort of inspired my PhD research, really.
And what specifically is your research? What does that entail?
So I'm looking at how tapestries were used in the country house in the 18th century and what that can tell us about tapestry, about country house interiors, and about the country house culture in general. The tapestries were used in much the same way that we use furnishings and that in our houses today.
They're an expression of fashion.
That's right, they're an expression of fashion. Although by the time that these tapestries were hung at Doddington in about 1760, tapestry was sort of going out of fashion a little bit. And actually these tapestries were already over 100 years old by the time that they were hung in the 1760s. So the Delaval family who put these tapestries up were using antique tapestries to say something about their lineage, about their ancestors, about their
history.
That's right, yeah, from being from a very sort of old family. So this is the biggest and most complete tapestry in the Holly bedroom. But if you look over to the other side of the room, you can see that it's a different story. Over here, they're much more fragmentary, and there's some really interesting stuff around this fireplace. So can you see here how this tapestry has been cut around the fireplace architecture very precisely? But also above the fireplace, in this tapestry border, there was some damage. There was a big hole burnt in the tapestry, maybe from an unattended candle or something like that. And what they've done is they've cut another strip of tapestry border and they literally nailed that over the top to disguise the damage. So here they've folded the tapestry, the bottom of the new piece of tapestry up so that they've matched it up as closely as they can. That's to create a sort of visual flow around the room so it doesn't jar on your eye as you look around the room. And this is something that I think was quite important to the Delavals. They were more interested in the what the room looked like, the visual flow of the room, than in the fact that these were tapestries. So in a sense, what they're doing is they're not creating a tapestry scheme, they're creating a decorative scheme with tapestries. Yeah.
So, has the majority of the conservation work so far been focused in this room?
Well, the conservation work started here in this room in 2010, but since then the project has moved on to conserve the tapestries in another bedroom, the other side of the drawing room, which is called the yellow bedroom.
Check that out.
Absolutely, yes, let's go and have a look. So Doddington was built in around about 1600, and it was built for Thomas Taylor, who was the registrar to the Bishop of Lincoln at the time. And there was a lot of redevelopment work, refurbishment work done in the 18th century by John Hussey Delaval, who was the landowner at the time. And it was him who was responsible for putting the tapestries in the current configuration that we see them today. Here in the yellow bedroom, there's probably more evidence actually of the tapestries having been cut up and pieced back together to make new composites. Probably more of that than in the Holly bedroom.
The ones that we saw in there that were sort of fragmented and stitched together, they were taken from ones that would have been used in here initially.
Yes, that's right, yeah. So again, you see this where they're trying to make a good impression. They're putting their best tapestries in their best rooms. So there really is a sort of a structural hierarchy going on with how these tapestries are being used, which is really an interesting thing to research. So if I can show you some photographs, because obviously the tapestries in here haven't been fully conserved and aren't back on the walls yet.
Yes.
So this photograph here shows a tapestry which we call the military camp. And this tapestry normally hangs above the fireplace, which is over my shoulder just now. I don't know how well you can see it, Michael, but can you see that there's a line going across here?
A very thin,
a very
kind of
faint line.
Yeah.
That's where the tapestry had been cut previously. And then if you followed that to its natural conclusion, it would then come down here. There's a vertical seam going down here. That larger cut was made to accommodate an earlier architectural feature, which may or may not be a fireplace, which is actually over your shoulder.
Oh,
just
right,
behind you
that
there.
one is considerably higher than the one on that wall.
That's right. So from this we can tell that the tapestries at Doddington were altered not once in the 1760s, but at some point previous to that as well.
So what are you hoping will be the ultimate outcome of all this research?
Well, by looking at the Doddington interiors and the Delavalles through the objects which are used as furnishings, through the tapestries, we can gain an insight into their world and their culture, which is just not available through archival material like letters or accounts or inventories. So what I'm hoping to do through my research is show the value of taking an object-centred approach, so that genuine new research can grow out of what we do as conservators anyway. And also by being active among the students and doing my research on campus, I can show the value of continuing to do that research, and that the academic journey doesn't finish when you finish your undergraduate degree.